Hello! Welcome to Complete Guide to MannaRites video. First of all, I wanted to thank all those who decided to support the game by leaving a positive review on Steam. It means a lot to me, it truly does. Thank you. Alright, so in this video I wanted to talk about most of the game basics aspects such as combat moves, characters, RPG system, skills, tactics. Also, I wanted to touch lore just a bit to clarify some things, and I wanted to talk about future plans for MannaRites and maybe answer some frequently asked questions from Steam reviews or YouTube comments. Thank you and enjoy the video! What is MannaRites? MannaRites is a challenging fantasy beat-em-up game with RPG elements and couch co-op. MannaRites is inspired by classic beat-em-up titles, such as Golden Axe, especially the second part, and Streets of Rage. MannaRites was also heavily inspired by such classic titles as Severance Blade of Darkness, Gothic, and Nox. Even though it features character progression system and loot system, it is still a highly skill-dependent game. The player who has mastered combat in its fullest has a significant advantage in battle. MannaRites features 4 playable characters who share combat fundamentals but quite different in playstyle. Each character has a basic combo, consists of 4 successive strikes. The first 3 deal normal weapon damage, the last one deals double damage and knocks enemies off their feet. If you hold the attack button and then release it, your character will perform Lunge attack, which helps to quickly close the gap between you and your enemy and has increased critical chance. When enemy is on the ground, you may perform Finisher move to deal some additional damage, but be careful if there are other enemies around. You are very vulnerable while performing Finisher move. Tackle is a very useful move to quickly knock an enemy off his feet. It deals very little damage, but gives a short tactical advantage. It is especially useful when you are surrounded by several enemies at the same time. Tackle works differently for Ranger class. It doesn't knock enemies down, and it can be used to retrieve arrows stuck in enemies' bodies, both standing and lying down. There are also several unlockable moves that may improve combat performance. First one, Dodge, allows to quickly jump away from your enemy. Another unlockable move can be performed right after Dodge. This attack, however, is different for different character classes. Slide or Somersault is a very useful unlockable skill which helps to avoid enemies' projectiles. Some classes has a throw skill, which allows them to throw enemies at each other. It is very useful but hard to master combat move. As warrior and acrobat, to perform a throw, you need to land several strikes while getting closer and closer to your enemy. As ranger, you just need to get really close to your opponent to perform a throw. Magus doesn't have a throw ability, but he may empower his mid-air kick to knock down several opponents at once. Blocking is a very important move that may save you life and get you out from very tight spots. Being one of the fastest moves in the game, it can interrupt almost any single enemy combo. However, not all strikes can be blocked. Quick Getup is an advanced move that allows you to quickly recover from being knocked down and immediately get back into fight. To perform it, quickly press jump upon hitting the ground. Each character has an adrenaline bar right under health bar. With each successful hit it fills up a bit, but if your character gets hit himself, adrenaline bar gets emptied. If adrenaline bar is full, your damage is increased by 50%. You can recognize that it's full by brief golden aura around your character. Damage calculation is pretty simple, yet requires a bit of explanation. Enemies you encounter may have several types of health. Red health bar means ordinary health that can be harmed with any weapon at your disposal. Note that damage you deal normally cannot exceed 1 health bar, which equals to 100 health points. Golden health bar means armored health, which can only be harmed by weapons with armor penetration ability. Such weapons unlock by progressing through the main story of the campaign. Blue health bar means magically shielded health, which can only be harmed by weapons with shield penetration ability. Such weapons unlocked by progressing through the main quest as well. Damage to armored and shielded health is normally reduced. However, character signature moves normally ignore damage reductions. Here are several general combat-related hints that may help you on your way. Move a lot. Standing still and waiting to be attacked makes you an easy target. If there are archers paired with melee enemies, kill archers first, otherwise they may complicate your life. Don't get surrounded. If surrounded, try to get out. Use blocks to prevent stun locking. Some enemies may have larger attack range than you, and if they're fast, they may hit you before you'll be able to hit them. Do not approach such enemies directly. It's better to use different lane to get to striking distance. Use your character's signature move. Signature move is always the very first unlockable skill on the skill tree. Signature moves ignore armor or shields damage reduction, thus making killing armored and shielded enemies much easier. Here is a bit of basic information about playable characters and their strengths and weaknesses. Warrior. Warrior is very good in close combat. His signature move is Mighty Strike, which has different animations for different types of weapons. During Mighty Strike, Warrior cannot be interrupted or knocked down, and maximum damage that can be dealt to him with a single hit equals 5 health points. As a source of power for signature move, Warrior uses stamina, which he gains by blocking enemy attacks. Warrior also gains double adrenaline for blocking, and with a special perk may block even very powerful enemy attacks. Warrior may also learn how to block and deflect incoming projectiles, which allows him to handle archers and mages. The main key to Warrior combat is blocking. As soon as this skill mastered, game is going to go smoothly. Acrobat. Acrobat is a very agile class. She can move and strike very fast and quickly retreat out of harm's way. Her signature move is a weapon throw, which allows her to deal a lot of damage from outside of enemy's attack range. However, while she is throwing her weapon, she is very vulnerable. As a source of power for her signature move, she is using stamina, which she gets for striking from the air. Acrobat is very good at striking mid-air. She even has perk, which makes her air strikes block incoming attacks. She also has an unlockable skill, allowing her to deflect enemy projectiles, which makes her very efficient against enemy archers and mages. The key skill for Acrobat is learning how to safely perform mid-air strikes. Once mastered, it makes her very formidable against even the strongest of enemies. Magus. Magus is a unique playable character, very different from Warrior and Acrobat. As a source of power he is using mana energy, which he is gaining from the earth, that's why he doesn't wear shoes. Magus' signature move is to cast spells. He can unlock up to 4 spells from his skill tree, between which he may switch at any time with utility button. Soul Bolt spell does damage similar to other characters' signature moves, and it can be empowered by unlocking additional perks. Healing restores partially damaged health bars. Weapon Augment spell empowers currently equipped weapon in melee, and it works differently on different kind of weapons. Protection spell adds some shields to your health. Apart from that, Magus can read powerful spells from spellbooks. To read a spell, equip spellbook and press block several times to read the spell's syllables. There are a number of spells and spellbooks with various effects. Playing with a spellbook is a very unique experience, quite different from other classes. Magus can be developed in several ways. You may focus your build on base spells, melee combat, spellbooks, or make a custom mix to your liking. Ranger. Ranger class is quite different from classic beat-em-up experience. Ranger's signature move is shooting arrows, for which he needs, arrows. Arrow that hit an enemy get stuck in him and can be retrieved and reused. To retrieve arrows, use Ranger's tackle move. It doesn't knock enemies down, but instead retrieves arrows from both standing and lying enemies, even from corpses. She even may learn how to catch arrows or magic projectiles flying at her and use them against attackers. If Ranger is out of arrows, Pet Falcon can always bring some. You just need to call. Unlock Call Falcon skill and press utility button to call him. Falcon can also be trained to attack your enemies, blinding them, or bring food to heal you or your companion. Also, a unique feature of Ranger was mentioning is how her midair attack works. After she reaches the highest point of jump, she can launch herself down at her enemy. If hit meets the target, she uses inertia to flip back into the air, after which she may strike again. Ranger is quite difficult character to master, but also very powerful. To be clear, MannaRites was never much about the story or dialogues. I'm pretty sure that people expect some action from a beat-em-up, not like tons and tons of text to read. However, it doesn't mean that it shouldn't have a story or lore whatsoever, and it doesn't mean that what happens on screen shouldn't make any sense. So, I'm going to give a short summary what has happened so far in the game and what to expect from Chapter 2. Spoiler alert.
What the is this?
So it all starts on the land called Izmiria. On this rather big island lives a race of creatures called Izmirs. Izmirs look pretty similar to humans except for some bony parts. The most noticeable ones are on their heads, and it grows with age. The fact that Izmirs look pretty similar to humans is not actually a coincidence, it's going to be explained later. Izmirs have some sort of caste-based society. If one is born as a fisherman, he has a little chance to become hunter or let's say farmer. But main character didn't agree with that. He wanted to be a fighter instead of a fisherman. In Izmiria, fighters are called hunters, and their society is called the Hunt. It's like a guild of some sort, with its own rules and hierarchy. And he asked his friend, old hunter Water, to train him. Water visited Fisir from time to time, Fisir is the name of the village in which your character lives, and gave him some lessons.
Again!
Game starts when Izmiria gets attacked by unknown and never before seen enemy, human fleet of iron ships powered by weird blue crystals. Soon Izmirs find out that some humans can use the same crystals to cast powerful and deadly spells. Main character tries to defeat enemies, but dies. After his dead body got dumped to a nearby ravine, mysterious creature named Cavareth talks to him and offers to imbue his body with his magic, so main character will be able to walk again for some time and fight attackers. Even so, main character feels almost normal after this resurrection. Throughout the game it's mentioned several times that it's only temporary, since this kind of magic decays body rather quickly, burns it from the inside. Soon hero finds out that main enemy forces are moving towards Gon, the biggest trade town of southern part of Izmiria, and Gon is about to fall. Invading army is led by some powerful mage, they are called satraps, who is completely invulnerable to ordinary attacks because he is carrying very powerful and unique protective magic. To defeat such an enemy, Cavareth quests hero to find a legendary weapon from before, Dar-Pilak. When he visits ancient and long-abandoned temple and picks up a strangely glowing weapon, something leads into him from this weapon, and we find out that Dar-Pilak is not actually a weapon, but a powerful magical substance, which hero doesn't know how to use, by the way. With Dar-Pilak and help of several hunters, hero breaks siege of Gon and engaged into fight with invading army's leader. Cavareth, using Dar-Pilak's essence inside our hero, disrupts Satrap's defensive magic, allowing character to defeat him. As an epilogue, we see a huge armada of ships approaching Izmiria. So, here are several questions that may come up after Chapter 1, and some of them are going to be answered in Chapter 2. What is Dar-Pilak? Why is it resided in some ancient weapon for so long, but slid into a hero's body? Who was invading army's leader, and how was he so powerful that no weapon could damage him, and the only thing that could hurt him was Dar-Pilak? What are these blue crystals that enemy mages are carrying? Where do they come from, and why are they so dangerous? Who is that mysterious Cavareth who resurrected our character, and why is he so powerful but no one actually knows anything about him? Why human army is invading Izmiria at all? What does any of this have to do with this short poem about 7 brothers from the game's intro? Stay tuned for Chapter 2 to find out. Now to final section, some questions. Why is MannaRites so hard? Well, difficulty is a relative thing, but I won't argue that MannaRites sometimes may be quite challenging, even on easy difficulty, especially for players new to beat-em-up genre. MannaRites had a rather steep learning curve, but once climbed, it is very satisfying and rewarding. Why graphics is so bad? The answer to that is pretty straightforward. It's bad because I'm making this game solo and it would took me much longer to make better graphics for the game, models, textures, animations and stuff. But it has its own advantages. For example, game is rendering in honest 512 by 288 resolution, which makes it easier to run even on very weak and old computers, and possibly even on mobile devices. Haven't tried it yet, but I'm planning to. Problems with input. I'm aware that there's been some problems with input system, like game paths aren't properly detected or stuff like that, but it all should be fixed with the recent Archer update. I'm urging you to try it out. Why isn't there online multiplayer, only local one? Because online multiplayer is much harder to create and support. It requires some additional infrastructure, external servers, for which I don't actually have money at the moment. If I ever get some funding, online multiplayer would be one of my top priorities. Is there any content planned for Chapter 1? Yes, I'm planning to make 2 relatively small additions in 2021 to Chapter 1. First edition planned is called Endgame Update. It's going to introduce a new game mode with online leaderboard, and it should be interesting for those who's already finished the main story but seeks more challenge. The second edition is going to be a tiny paid DLC called Buy Me a Beer. It's going to be completely optional. It's not crucial or even important at all for the main game. It's meant only for those who like the main game and wanted to say thank you or like to buy me a beer for that. All the funds collected will go directly to Chapter 2 development, Steam fees, software licenses, voice actors and stuff like that. Also, I'm planning to release the game for Android devices, phones and tablets, so it's going to require some work, but I really hope to get it done in 2021. When is Chapter 2 going to be released? I'll start working on Chapter 2 as soon as I'm completely done with Chapter 1, which I expect to be mid-2021. So Chapter 2 is likely to be released somewhere in 2022. But that's just my plans at the moment. Something may go wrong and cause delay, so maybe I find some funding and maybe even hire someone to help me and it's going to speed up things. Who knows what's going to happen, right? But I'm definitely determined to finish this part of MannaRites story and I'll do all I can to make it happen. This I say for sure. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed and maybe even found some useful information. If you like the game, please consider supporting it by leaving a review on Steam. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year! Cheers!